Hi, and welcome to the LM Report. I'm your host, Lima, and today is April 12, 2025. In this episode, we're diving deep into the evolving landscape of American policy, from economic strategies fueling job growth to immigration reforms strengthening national security and efforts to enhance government transparency and public trust. We'll also explore challenges in social media regulation, shifts in global diplomacy, and new health initiatives sparking debate. These pieces are coming together like a puzzle, revealing a clearer picture of where the nation is headed. Join me for a comprehensive look at what's driving change and what it means for you. Economic revival, tariffs, jobs, and energy. President Trump's economic agenda is built on a foundation of tariffs designed to bring manufacturing back to the United States. By increasing the cost of imported goods such as smartphones, clothing, automotive parts, and industrial machinery, the administration aims to make it more attractive for companies to produce domestically, creating jobs and revitalizing communities hit hard by decades of factory closures. A prime example is Siemens, which recently pledged $285 million to establish two state-of-the-art facilities in California and Texas focused on advanced technology and renewable energy components. This investment is projected to create over 1,000 jobs, from skilled technicians to supply chain managers, boosting local economies and signaling confidence in America's industrial future. Other companies are following suit. Reports indicate that textile firms in the Carolinas and automotive suppliers in Michigan are exploring expansions to avoid tariff costs, with some estimating that these moves could generate tens of thousands of jobs over the next 5 years. The administration points to these developments as proof that tariffs are working, arguing they protect American workers from unfair competition with countries that rely on lower labor standards or subsidies. However, tariffs aren't without controversy. Economists warn that higher import costs could raise prices for consumers, particularly for everyday items like electronics, groceries, or footwear. For instance, a 10% tariff on Chinese-made appliances could add $50 to $100 to the cost of a refrigerator, straining household budgets. To counter this, Trump's team is doubling down on energy affordability. In March 2025, consumer prices fell unexpectedly, driven by a 2.4% drop in energy costs, including a 6.3% decline in gasoline prices. This relief stems from policies expanding domestic oil and gas production, streamlining drilling permits, and securing higher output from global suppliers like OPEC. Cheaper energy lowers expenses for manufacturers, truckers, and retailers, helping keep retail prices stable despite tariffs. The ripple effects are significant. Lower fuel costs mean farmers spend less on transporting crops, airlines can offer more competitive fares, and factories save on powering assembly lines. For example, energy-intensive industries like aluminum smelting and chemical production are reporting cost savings, enhancing their global competitiveness. Proposed tax cuts further sweeten the deal, aiming to boost disposable income for families and incentivize corporate investment. Critics caution that global supply chains may face disruptions, potentially causing shortages in niche sectors like semiconductors. Supporters, however, see a long-term shift towards self-reliance, with the U.S. less dependent on foreign goods. The debate is heated, but the administration's bet is clear: a manufacturing boom will outweigh short-term growing pains. Immigration reform, security and order. Immigration policy is undergoing a major overhaul, with a focus on border security and legal accountability. The administration has authorized the Department of Defense to manage the Roosevelt Reservation, a 60-foot federal buffer zone along the southern border in California, Arizona, and New Mexico. Military personnel are now tasked with detaining unauthorized border crossers and handing them to Border Patrol, a move designed to curb illegal immigration while operating within legal boundaries. By using federal land, the policy avoids conflicts with the Posse Comitatus Act, which limits military involvement in domestic law enforcement. In Texas, where federal ownership of border land is limited, Governor Greg Abbott's National Guard deployments continue to apprehend migrants, complementing federal efforts. These measures reflect a broader commitment to enforce immigration laws, with the White House emphasizing that legal pathways remain open for those who follow the rules. Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt announced a new requirement: foreign nationals in the U.S. for over 30 days, whether tourists, students, temporary workers, or others, must register with the government. Non-compliance could result in fines, imprisonment, or deportation, a policy aimed at tracking visa overstays and ensuring accountability. The registration rule has sparked debate. Supporters argue it's a common-sense step to monitor who's in the country, citing national security concerns and cases like Mahmoud Khalil, a non-citizen ordered deported after disruptive protests. They liken it to hosting guests. Visitors are welcome, but they must respect the house rules or leave. Critics, including immigration advocates, worry it could overwhelm administrative systems or deter lawful visitors like international students or business travelers due to bureaucratic hurdles. They also raise concerns about profiling or unfair enforcement. The administration counters that clear rules strengthen trust in the system, ensuring fairness for citizens and legal immigrants alike. Striking this balance will be key as the policy rolls out. Transparency and accountability, unlocking the past. Government transparency is a priority, with efforts to declassify historical records shedding light on America's past. Former Representative Tulsi Gabbard, now leading archival reviews, announced the release of long-classified documents related to John F. Kennedy's assassination, with additional files on Robert F. Kennedy and Martin Luther King Jr. slated for release soon. Discovered in the National Archives, these documents aim to clarify pivotal events, addressing decades-old questions about government actions and motivations. Gabbard emphasized that transparency builds public trust, allowing citizens to piece together history like a puzzle grounded in primary sources. This initiative has broad implications. Historians praise the move, arguing it empowers the public to understand complex events, from Cold War tensions to civil rights struggles. For example, the JFK files may reveal more about intelligence operations in the 1960s, offering context for today's debates on privacy and surveillance. However, some security experts caution that releasing sensitive files could expose outdated protocols or be misconstrued without proper framing. The administration insists it's about empowering Americans, not fueling speculation, with rigorous vetting to ensure releases are responsible. Modern accountability is also in focus. A recent Department of Government Efficiency (DOGE) report uncovered $382 million in fraudulent unemployment payments since 2020, primarily in California, New York, and Massachusetts. These findings have prompted audits to prevent future waste, with proposals to tighten oversight in high-risk states. Critics argue that fraud reflects systemic flaws in pandemic-era relief programs, while supporters see the investigation as a step toward fiscal responsibility, ensuring taxpayer dollars fund legitimate needs like infrastructure or healthcare. Social media regulation, balancing free speech and security. Social media platforms face growing scrutiny over content moderation practices. Sarah Wynne Williams, a former Facebook executive from 2011 to 2017, testified about past collaborations with foreign entities on censorship policies, raising concerns about user privacy and national security. She noted that congressional oversight has since limited data sharing, but her disclosures highlight tensions between tech giants and regulators. The administration is exploring reforms to protect free speech while addressing misinformation, a complex challenge in an era of polarized online discourse. The debate is multifaceted. Free speech advocates warn that heavy-handed regulation could chill expression or favor certain viewpoints, citing First Amendment protections. Conversely, security experts argue that unchecked platforms can amplify harmful content, from election fraud claims to foreign propaganda. No criminal charges have stemmed from Williams' testimony, but it's fueling calls for clearer guidelines. For instance, platforms like YouTube are under pressure to balance open dialogue with preventing divisive rhetoric. The LM report will monitor this closely, as it shapes how we connect and communicate in the digital age. Global diplomacy. Peace through strength. Globally, Trump is prioritizing peace while reinforcing military readiness. He recently urged Russia and Ukraine to negotiate an end to their conflict, highlighting the devastating loss of life, thousands weekly, and framing it as a preventable tragedy. In Yemen, Houthi rebels offered a truce to halt attacks on U.S. shipping, though doubts persist about their sincerity, given past violations. These diplomatic efforts aim to de-escalate tensions, with the administration engaging Iran, a Houthi backer, to explore broader stability in the region. At home, military reforms underscore strength. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth mandated the Marine Corps' physical fitness test, featuring a 3-mile run, pull-ups, and crunches, as the standard for all branches, ensuring troops are combat ready. This replaces less rigorous tests, addressing concerns about declining fitness in an era of modern warfare's physical demands. Trump also highlighted advanced U.S. weaponry, not as a threat, but as a deterrent, signaling to adversaries that America is prepared. Critics warn of escalation risks, but supporters argue that a strong defense prevents conflicts. The strategy blends diplomacy with resolve, aiming for a stable world order. Health initiatives, science and trust. Health policy is sparking conversation, with Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. launching a global research effort to investigate autism's rising prevalence, now affecting 1 in 31 children compared to 1 in 10,000 decades ago. Set to conclude by September 2025, the study will examine environmental factors, lifestyle changes, and medical practices, involving hundreds of scientists to ensure robust findings. Kennedy has called for evidence-based answers, avoiding premature conclusions about causes like vaccines, which remain a sensitive topic. Public health advocates welcome the inquiry, noting that understanding autism's drivers could improve support for families. Skeptics, however, question its scope, arguing it risks fueling misinformation if not tightly controlled. The administration sees it as part of rebuilding trust in science, addressing concerns about pharmaceutical influence while respecting peer-reviewed research. Other efforts, like promoting antiviral treatments, aim to enhance care options, though claims about cures require rigorous validation. Transparency in health policy, much like in government records, is key to public buy-in. The bigger picture, a nation evolving. These policies, tariffs, border security, transparency, tech oversight, diplomacy, and health reform, are threads in a tapestry of change. They reflect a vision of an America that's economically vibrant, secure, transparent, and globally respected. Challenges abound: economic uncertainty, social tensions, international complexities. Yet, the administration argues that prioritizing jobs, laws, and truth will yield lasting benefits. Public engagement is growing, with Americans asking tougher questions about their government, history, and future. Like a puzzle, the full picture is emerging, and it's up to us to stay informed. That's today's LM Report. If this deep dive helped you see the bigger picture, please like, share, and subscribe for more thoughtful analysis on the issues shaping our world. Your support fuels our mission to deliver clarity and context. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and stay prepared. Thanks for joining me.